The morning of June 4th, 1942 was clear but tense over the Pacific. The U.S. Navy, on high alert, had positioned its carriers northwest of Midway Atoll, awaiting the arrival of a massive Japanese strike force. Among those carriers was the USS Hornet, launching its air squadrons into the skies. One of them was Torpedo Squadron 8, led by Lieutenant Commander John Charles Waldron. The TBD Devastators of Torpedo Squadron 8, antiquated and slow, lined the deck of the Hornet. Each carried a single torpedo, their sole weapon against the formidable Japanese fleet. Waldron stood by his aircraft, his face calm yet determined. Over the intercom, he gave his final instructions.
Men, stay low. Stay focused. We only get one shot at this. Let's make it count.
The squadron of 15 Devastators took off in tight formation, their engines droning steadily as they climbed to cruising altitude. Beneath them, the endless expanse of the Pacific shimmered under the sun. Waldron's eyes scanned the horizon, searching for the telltale signs of the Japanese fleet. Over the radio, intelligence from other units confirmed the fleet's position.
Northwest 40 miles, course 320.
As the squadron adjusted course, Waldron recalled rumors about Japan's ambitious new bomber, the Fugaku Gen-N. It was said to be capable of reaching the U.S. mainland with a massive payload, so it represented Japan's vision of total dominance in the Pacific. Though just a prototype, the thought of such a weapon pushed Waldron's resolve to the edge.
We stopped them here.
He said quietly, gripping the controls.
No other choice.
At 50 feet above the ocean's surface, the Devastators roared forward, skimming the waves to avoid radar detection. Ahead, the Japanese fleet came into view. 4 aircraft carriers, Akagi Kaga, Soryu, and Hiryu, escorted by destroyers and cruisers. The sight was both awe-inspiring and terrifying. Waldron keyed his radio.
BT-8, stay low. Follow my lead. Targets are the carriers.
The squadron descended even lower, their torpedoes armed and ready. But the Japanese were prepared. Mitsubishi A-6M0 fighters screamed down from above, their guns blazing. The sky turned into a firestorm as tracers and explosions filled the air. Waldron's Devastator shook violently as anti-aircraft shells burst around him.
Hold steady,
he commanded. The first torpedo planes approached the carriers, but the Zeros were relentless. The Devastators were picked off one by one, plummeting into the ocean in flames. Waldron's aircraft pressed on, weaving through the chaos. He spotted the Akagi, its flight deck bristling with activity, and lined up his run.
This is for Midway,
he thought, releasing his torpedo before banking hard to avoid the carrier's guns. The torpedo hit the water, its wake streaking toward the target, but as Waldron looked back, he saw the heartbreaking truth. The torpedo failed to detonate. Waldron's radio crackled with desperate calls.
0 on my tail, we're hit.
Despite the odds, he remained composed.
DFT-8, stay focused. Keep pushing.
But the odds were insurmountable. Within minutes, every Devastator had been shot down, leaving Waldron's plane among the last to fall. As his aircraft spiraled toward the ocean, Waldron thought of his squadron's bravery. Their attack had drawn the full attention of the Japanese fleet, forcing the Zeros to break formation and leaving the carriers vulnerable to the next wave. Unknown to Waldron, his sacrifice set the stage for one of the most decisive moments of the war. Minutes after Torpedo Squadron 8's attack, U.S. Scout Bomber Douglas Dauntless dive bombers descended on the Japanese carriers. With the Zeros out of position, the Dauntlesses struck with precision, igniting devastating fires on the Akagi, Kaga, and Soryu. 3 carriers were sunk, crippling the Japanese fleet.
Hi, test flight, 1096.
Amid the wreckage, Ensign George H.A. Jr., the sole survivor of Torpedo Squadron 8, floated on the ocean's surface. Clinging to a seat cushion, he witnessed the fiery demise of the Japanese carriers. His survival became a symbol of Torpedo Squadron 8's sacrifice. Though their attack did not land a single torpedo, Torpedo Squadron 8's actions were pivotal. Their courage and determination ensured the success of the U.S. counterattack, turning the tide of the Pacific War. Want to explore more captivating wartime tales? Subscribe and never miss an update.